Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Collegiate Star League's Fall Hearthstone season. This is the second day of our very first Hearthstone season, and we're really excited to bring it to you guys tonight. And it's brought to you by Blizzard and Twitch. And I'm Nomo Dogan, and tonight I'm joined by Lucia.
Hi everyone, good to be here once again today, and for our first series today, we've got a matchup between Princeton University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Now, there was an article written by, it looks like, Matthew Liu and David Weiss at Collegiate Star League. Oh, actually, sorry. By Teresa? I'm not sure. In any case, there's a feature of the top 10 players to watch out for in Hearthstone. Kind of a nice thing to have out, especially since it's our first season. So just to give the players, a little bit of a heads up against their opponents. And Ellie Barrett, who is potentially playing today, will be 4th in the lineup for Princeton University. Apparently, Ellie Barrett loves to go face. And this was seen by his deck selection during AICC, so
Interesting.
we'll have to see if that happens today. Again, if there's sort of a complete upset, complete sweep, like what we saw during the second series on Wednesday, then we won't get, unfortunately, to see the face of Ellie Barrett coming in and stomping his opponent.
I always like some good old-fashioned smork. Going face, especially with Face Hunter, Face Paladin, Face Mage. There's so many varieties of smork decks these days. You never know what people are going to bring.
So both these players just readying up here. We will get into game shortly here. First up, Deltice versus Beast Wrath of. Kind of one of those names where you're like, Wrath of what? Wrath of Beast?
Yeah.
Why is it Beast Wrath of?
That's what I was thinking.
Here?
I was like, maybe this is backwards, Beast of Wrath. I mean, maybe that was taken, but then again, I don't know. I think you'd be assigned a different number or something. But anyways, it looks like we're getting into the game. First game of tonight.
Yeah, and just a reminder of the format. This is a best of 5. Each player has the potential to play at most one game. And each class also will be used by each school at most once. And look at that, the perfect matchup that Deltice was looking for. Shaman, bringing out the Shaman versus a Druid.
I'm definitely excited to see some Shaman tonight. We didn't see any Shaman on Wednesday as far as I remember. And I really hope he brings it.
Yeah, that was the class that we wanted to see. That didn't happen on Wednesday.
Right. Instead, we saw 3 Patron Warriors, and they all lost. So, let's see what happens.
And this is it. This is the matchup that you're looking for. And you know what? I'm wondering if this is sort of strategic from the perspective of, with a name like Beast Wrath of, that most closely resembles a Druid, right? Because you have the skill Wrath, you have a couple beasts in there, Druid of the Claw.
For sure.
World Walker and all that, so, maybe Deltice decided he sounds like a Druid player, and what better time to bring out the Shaman?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Shaman's got a lot of good ways to deal with Druid's early tempo, and especially if Shaman gets a board together, which they often do, Druid doesn't have very many great ways to deal with a board that's established by their opponent. Typically, if a Druid falls behind, they struggle a lot to catch back up. The Druid's plan is usually just to get ahead, stay ahead, and then finish off your opponent later on.
Wow, very unfortunate. Drawing the Zombie Wrath turn 2. It's like if you don't draw it turn 2 and you just don't draw it, you're like, you know what? Okay, that's fine, that happened, right? But drawing it turn 2, it hurts a little. Of course, in this situation it actually worked out. He was able to deal with Beast of Wrath's piloted Shredder threat.
Yep.
And then getting that zombie chow out.
Yeah, and Lance Carrier, definitely not what you want to see out of your piloted Shredder. I'd say it's definitely below average as a 1-2. It can be dealt with pretty easily by this zombie chow. The problem here for Deltice is that he's not going to be able to deal with this Dernesis Aspirant. And so Beast Wrath of is just going to be able to keep ramping up, which is exactly what the Druid player wants to do.
Yeah, and that was a really nice play by him. He puts the Shredder out, so if Deltais had a way to remove, like a Lightning Bolt or a Rock Biter, he uses it on the piloted Shredder. The Darnassus comes out turn 2 instead of the Wild Growth, so having an extra body on the board, and also knowing it's hard for his opponent to really have that second removal. So,
Hmm.
you have that happen, and it seems like a pretty obvious Totem Golem here, but actually it hurts because next turn he'll have 3 mana and he can't play that Shredder.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, if he doesn't draw a 3-drop or even like a 2-drop of some kind, it's not going to be a very impressive turn for Deltais coming up. Although this isn't the most impressive turn for Beast Wrath of, he's really trying to protect his Darnassus Aspirant here, keep the board clear, and hopefully he draws a threat soon because his hand is pretty threat light at this point.
The Rock Biter also coming a turn late. I think Deltais' hand is just sort of a everything a turn late kind of situation right now.
Yeah, it's been a pretty awkward draw. Do you kill the Darnassus Aspirant here? Hmm. Looks like he's going to opt to do it. I mean,
See, I almost... Well, actually, no. Whatever totem comes out, you can't really... I think it's okay, because with... That's rough, right? Because the situation is the Searing Totem could take care of it, and the Druid would have to Hero Power or Wrath, which
right.
means the Druid only has 3 mana to do something else that turn.
Hmm.
Right? But the issue is next turn, actually with 5 mana, he could have just played the Shredder and the Rock Biter this turn, so I think it would have been better just to leave it. You're basically forcing the Druid, to clear it out, and with 3 mana as opposed to 4, like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was totally fine to Rock Biter it, even though it was just a bit late. Let's see, Force of Nature to take out this Thunderbluff Valiant. I think that's not really where you want to be as a Druid, not the best trade. You're trading a 6-mana card for a 5-mana card, and you leave yourself with no board presence, which is definitely a dangerous place to be against Shaman, because Shaman has a lot of ways to build up the board, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, at the same time, though, he really doesn't have anything else in his hand. I honestly would have preferred playing the Shredder there. I know you're floating 1 mana, but you kind of want to play the Thunder Bluff while like in this situation, your totem probably stays on the board, right? And then, you play the Thunder Bluff on turn 7, and you get, oh wow, can play the Boom. So,
Yeah, that's a really nice draw.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looks like Deltais, Actually, I don't like that Pint-Sized Summoner because it made him float 1 mana. It doesn't look good.
Hmm. It was a bit awkward. I mean, you would definitely prefer something like a Millhouse Mana Storm. But,
It's more just, it's just like my OCD preference of, if you had 4 mana and you only had a Mech Warper and a Snow Chugger, I play the Snow Chugger first, just so it's like, I efficiently use my mana.
right, so he should have just used
Oh
the
my
Earth Shock
God.
last turn for no reason.
Yeah.
Alakir is a really strong draw. I mean, Doctor Boom into Alakir, turn 7 into turn 8 is really nice for the Shaman. I don't actually think. Let's see. Is Alakir the best play here?
I think getting the Flame Tongue out is better at this point.
The
And
Flame Tongue's
then-
definitely good.
With the Flame Tongue, too, you can just kill off... you use the 2 Boombots to essentially kill off the Drake, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so he's going to test it out first. That's going phase. Perfect. So you put the Flame Tongue down. Ooh, yeah, okay. It doesn't actually matter. Either way, as long as you put it in the middle, the Boombot dies. And perfect.
Yep,
Get
pushes
that
for a lot of
in.
damage. I also like playing the Argus here after you attack with the...
Whoa.
Or played in the middle of the Searing Totem. There we go.
Yeah, he missed the damage there.
Hmm.
That was
But-
the, whoa, what is he doing moment. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much 1 damage is gonna matter at this point, but it's a really strong play.
Next turn, I mean... Let's see here. I think he has to clear here with combo. I'm not sure there's much else that Beast Wrath can do.
Hmm. And
And
that's a really bad feeling as a druid.
not only that, he's used both sets of trees. So at this point, he's forced to build a board, which I don't know if he can really do at the moment. That's interesting. Deciding to leave up the Dr. Boom as opposed to leaving the Flame Tongue. And, I mean, didn't really matter here. Alakir would have been lethal. Would it have been? If he killed Dr. Boom and left the Flame Tongue up, then it would not have been lethal. So actually,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it
he
would
would
have
have
been a better
survived.
play. Right. So, Beast Wrath up there, just a slight misplay. You know, you always want to... I know Flame Tongue looks bad to have on the board, but Dr. Boom, that's 7 guaranteed damage, right? Of course, Alakir there... Actually, let me count that up. So, the Flame Tongue's up. I think he was at 15 health. So, there was the Alakir plus Defender. So 4 from the Defender, and then 10. So he would have been 1 off lethal, I believe. I mean, with the Doom Hammer next turn, I don't see any way this could have, you know, gone wrong. But just, you know, technically speaking, a little bit of a misplay. But all in all, you can't really come back from that situation as a druid. You have no more Force of Natures, and your opponent has a board against you, then you're just never going to be able to get to the point where you can kill.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with that slight misplay, it was probably going to work out for Deltais anyways, with that huge lead that he had. But definitely want to take that stuff into account. It might have ended up mattering, but either way, still a pretty interesting game, especially to see Shaman. Really happy about that. Hopefully see more Shaman tonight and more different classes other than just Paladin Warrior. Because Paladin and Warrior were pretty much the most popular classes on Wednesday. So
I'd expect still some Patron Warriors to try to eke in that last game, you know. You gotta do it, right? You spend all those hours practicing your Patron Warrior, like, you have to do it.
yeah, definitely.
So, probably expect to see, you know, I would say at least 2 Patron Warriors this time around. I think it would be better to leave that later in the matchups as opposed to early on, just so, you know, it really allows your opponent to take out a lot of tech, right? Like, especially as a handlock player, and just some other classes, like, you know, you're just safe, you don't have to worry about certain things. So
Yeah, definitely. All right, looks like we're about ready to get started in this next game.
And at the moment, it will be Princeton University up 1-0 versus MIT. Both of these schools, I'm sure, very competitive generally as well against each other. So I'd say there's probably a healthy rivalry between their Hearthstone teams as well.
Yeah, I would think so. And, you know, with this being the first Hearthstone season, maybe some teams will build up some rivalries after this season and stuff like that, depending on how things go. So it looks like we're getting into the game here. It's going to be Mzang13 from Princeton and Fro116 from MIT.
It could be F-Row, you know? It's like Mzang 113,
or it could
and
be
then F-Row.
Could be
First name, last name.
FRO.
No, I just mean like first name, last name, kind of. First initial, last name, right? That kind of a situation going on. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
Totally.
That's true.
It looks nice that way, you know? Like these two people with the same format of names.
Sure, sure. Whatever you say.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyways, we're getting into the game. Yeah, no hard feelings. But anyways, we're getting into the game here. We've got Paladin versus Hunter, it looks like. Seems like a really strong opening hand here from Fro as the Paladin. So, Zombie Chow, Knife Juggler, True Silver. Seems like it's taking a second for my client to load.
Alright. And we've seen sort of the resurgence of mid-range paladin.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know,
even with
once
all
the
this
sort of the secret thing dies off, everyone realizes like, this is the way to go.
mid-range is still good, but Mysterious Challenger is a pretty powerful card.
It is. Paladin just has so many good cards though at the same time, and my client, of course, decides to bug out. Did M. Zhang play the King's Elic?
I'm actually not sure. My client may or may not have bugged out as well. Just give me a moment here.
Oh,
I
and the
am
quick shot. And the quick shot looked like it was targeting the knife juggler in Fro's hand for a second there. I'm like, whoa, preemptive quick shot. That's
Right.
a pretty good play.
Let me see if I can get us updated on the current game
Yeah,
state.
I'm just gonna get out of here. This game looks too broken.
Alright, it is currently turn 3. Fro just coined out a Murloc Knight. Everyone's favorite new card from the expansion, I think. At least my favorite new card.
Absolutely.
The good old 4 mana 3/4 Murloc with Inspire, summon a random Murloc. Card's very potent on its own. And
Generally, you want to play it on turn 5 with coin or turn 6 because you need to get the value from getting that Murloc Knight, and I definitely disagree with this play there from Fro, especially because the web spinner is on the board. So you know that, if your opponent has kill command, that poor Murloc Knight is going to be no more.
for sure.
That's a pretty awkward turn from Fro as well. Equips the True Silver, but I agree, a web spinner isn't something you want to be using a 4 attack weapon on.
Hmm. Yeah, I do like getting in play there, though. You definitely don't want a Consecration, just the web spinner. Making a making a 1/1 isn't that powerful, and this sets up for a nice curve over the next couple of turns. You can Sludge Belt your next turn and have your True Silver ready to go. Turn 6, maybe Consecration, Hero Power, that kind of stuff. It just gives you a few more options for the coming turns.
Yeah, at this point I'd play the Scientist. You don't know you're going to get Misha, so obviously, you're not just going to go ahead and gamble it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is kind of a tough call. I guess depending on how much damage or how much aggression M. Zhang has in his deck, he might play the Knife Juggler instead, but he goes with the more conservative Mad Scientist, which could definitely be the better play. It's good for tempo. You also want to have your scientists get the secrets into play before you draw them. We already see one freezing trap in M. Zhang's hand. Who knows how many other secrets he have? He might just want to get him into play.
Yep, and kind of perfect here. It has the Eagle Horn. This is how this turn is going to go, right? You equip the Eagle Horn bow, you hit it, you trade the Scientist in, you play the Knife Juggler, you trade the Web Spinner in, you get another Web Spinner, you have the 1 mana, you play it, it kills off the second half.
Wow.
Perfect plays.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, the 1 in 90 something chance that you get the web spinner off the web spinner. Yeah, it's...
Why I gotta be so pessimistic? Come on. Web spinner. Web
I
spinner.
guess those aren't the worst odds.
Web spinner.
I do like trading in the web spinner, though, just to see what you get. Figure out all your options first.
Come on, web spinner. Do it. Do it.
Opts to just hero power and pass.
This makes me sad.
I think this is okay.
If he gets a web spinner out of this, I'm gonna be like, see, I told you. Okay. Fine.
That one's pretty good to get.
This is an acceptable line of play, given that it didn't happen. Actually, between the knife and the Kodo, they might just be able to kill off both of them.
Yeah, I mean...
Never mind. The Unleash will take care of it a lot better.
Unleash is pretty good, but it seems to be like M. Zhang thought even deeper than you did. He said, hey, I know I'm going to get a Stampeding Kodo. I have this Knife Juggler in hand. Now look, I have a full board clear. Okay, he ups to Hounds instead. But either way, that Kodo could have cleared the board. He's probably just saving it for a better target or something. The Hounds is also just pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I like he has to decide if he wants the freezing or hero power. Yeah, for sure, I agree with you. Hero power. You don't know what your opponent is playing yet. You may not want to have the freezing.
Yeah. If Fro plays something like an Antique Healbot or I don't know, maybe even like an Earthen Ring Farseer. There's a few things, or just something small, like a 1 or 2 drop. There's just some things you don't really want to freeze. I just like getting the straight 2 damage on face.
Yeah,
So,
especially like if a mini bot comes out, or you see the muster for battle as well, right? There's, yeah, a lot of things you don't want to see with the freezing trap. And interesting. I would have definitely opted to just hit face, and then he can play the muster for battle.
yeah, I think the consecration's acceptable there. I mean, you know
No, I
that
mean after
M
the consecration, he had 3 mana, so
Oh, right,
he can
right.
just True Silver into face, get rid of the explosive, or find out it's a freezing,
Right,
right?
instead of just making the 1/1.
And in this situation, I would freezing. There's no way your opponent gets a. I mean, here's the problem, right? There's no way your opponent can play something that has charge, basically. I mean, there's Argent Horse Rider, but I highly doubt Fro is playing that. The problem there, though, is that, if he musters next turn, then one of those guys is going to stay alive. And since Tyrion has taunt, he can just wait it out.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, there's no obligation to attack with the Tyrion, and I actually think it'd be a pretty big mistake if your opponent had 2 traps in play, and you attack with your 6/6 taunt Divine Shield. Emzing might not even play the trap here because it might just be too clear of a signal that it is a freezing trap.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you just taunt up using the Hound onto... Interesting. I would have definitely done it on the Kodo, because that would prevent the True Silver from taking it out.
Yeah, that's true. I like having a big taunt as well.
It's just a lot
It,
of health, right? And it's also, it balances out the silence as well, because that way you still get your Haunted Creeper spiders. Whereas the Stampeding Kodo doesn't really have anything else, so you're removing 2/2 as opposed to removing everything.
right.
And Fro decides he can tank the damage. He's not going to Eldar the spiders.
Looks like I just got kicked out of spectating again. So,
Alright.
but yeah, making a big taunt there would have been good. Makes you less susceptible to board clear, of course. And that True Silver Champion wouldn't have been as good.
So at this point, it's the point where the mid-range paladin sort of has stabilized, and at 15 health, he doesn't feel that great, but as you can see here, he's got, quite a few threats on the board, has enough 1/1s that it's not going to be an issue.
And he's already seen one Unleash the Hounds. So even though that is a fear in the back of your head, your opponent is top decking at this point. You can't think about it too much, I think. You just have to play as though it's not going to happen. You also have a reasonable amount of life gain as Fro here. He has Lay on Hands, True Silver Champion. If he can just stall out for a little bit longer, take control of the board, get up to a little bit more healthy of a life total, play it slow, I think he can definitely take this game.
Once the Lay on Hands comes down, that's pretty much it for the Hunter. There's no way to get through that Tyrion and put out that amount of damage. Obviously the Freezing Trap's gonna deal with that Freezing Trap, and then knowing that's, almost certainly an explosive, clearing off the Hunter's board so he's got absolutely nothing he can do.
Interesting how he played the mini bot first. It's not too big of a deal, but yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit of a misplay. I mean, he has to know. One of them was freezing, you know, and
Hmm.
he's killed off. It's not snakes. It's not misdirection. Um, it could be
Yeah,
snipe, but if it's snipe, you play your mini bot afterwards anyway, right? So,
it's just a little error in sequencing. Probably not too big of an issue. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough for Mzang to come back here. It's gonna need back to back to back Leroy Jenkins, and I don't even know if that's gonna cut it. Uh, and even then, you can only have one of that card in your deck. Anyways,
yeah, there's really no way for M Shang to come back here and just pushing the Ashbringer, just basically playing out as much damage as possible. And very unfortunate that he's picking up that second Eagle Horn Bow. That's the last thing he wants. Haunted Creeper also included in
yeah.
the list of last things you want to see right now.
I mean, I was gonna mention Deathwing, but then Fro, taking into account the Deathwing, throwing down the Sylvanas just in case.
There you
That way,
go.
that way it'd steal the Deathwing. We have all bases covered here. Well played from both players.
I was gonna say
So,
he could have tried getting the Doomsayer, but even then, face taking 4 damage would mean the Ashbringer kills him, so not much of a way to get around that board, you know, even that one in however many chance.
yep, for sure.
Alright, and with that, it looks like Fro116 will be taking in the game there with the mid-range Paladin, bringing the score now to 1-1. And like I said, you know, both these schools, from the academic perspective, are very competitive. I'd expect the same from their Hearthstone teams. I don't expect this to be an easy fight.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see 5 games as usual. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We worked out average-wise, right? Last time there was a 5 and a 3, so, you know, get the average of 4 games, and we'll see how it goes this
Hmm.
time around.
Just getting the players ready here. Won't be too long. Alright, looks like they are ready to start. We should be getting into the game momentarily. But yeah, I wonder how many more Patron Warriors we'll see tonight as compared to Wednesday. If we'll see everyone bring Patron Warrior again. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the very last chance for those people who want to milk Patron for what it's worth, as if they haven't had the chance to do that for the past 6 months. But anyways, looks like we do have Warrior versus Warlock, and guess what the Warrior is? We've got a Patron in the house. Or at least I think so. He might just be playing Warsong Commander, Frothing Berserker without patrons, but
Hey,
I would
that's
think
the
it's in
way.
there.
That's the way to mind game your opponent, right?
Yep. I mean, the last week you mix it up, you take out the patrons, and you throw in core Chronolites for who knows why. I mean, yeah. But seems like the Warlock is another Demon Handlock. We saw a couple of these on Wednesday as well. This deck's definitely picking up steam. I think it's pretty good against the Secret Paladins as well, because Secret Paladins do not play Equality at the moment, unless you're playing a list that's a little different. As far as I know, most Secret Paladins don't play Equality, which is a really important card against Handlock as a Paladin player.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to players in. There was a tournament I casted with a player in China, and he said, you know, he thinks it's ridiculous that in NA Secret Paladins aren't playing Equality,
Hmm.
or some decks don't even run Owl. It's like, so one taunt is like, it's it, your deck's done, you know?
Yeah, pretty all in. I mean, then again, in the aggressive matchups, in the Secret Paladin mirrors, Equality tends to not be a very good card since it's reactive instead of proactive. Um, but
Yeah, I
either
mean, if you're
way,
gonna go face, you just go face, right?
yeah, right.
Why
Equality doesn't
bring
put the
these
face to
extra
one.
cards? Like,
Exactly.
does
Equality,
it do damage to his face? No! Equality doesn't do damage to his face.
exactly. So yeah, who needs that card? Anyways, we've seen his typical start from Nicketh here. He just tapped on turn two. Good old handlock. Handlock plays, everyone. Tap on turn two. That should be like a t-shirt or something. I don't know.
I don't know. That seems like an invitation for things you may not want.
Anyway, anyway, back into the game here. We've got what seems like a very bad turn for the patron warrior. Looks like it's.
Tempo
I mean,
Frothings.
you could play a tempo frothing here, but if it does turn out to be handlock, frothing is one of the most important cards in the matchup to be able to burst them from their higher life totals later in the game. So I would prefer just armoring up here. Yeah, I like that.
Looks like Pi Dimension agreeing with your play there.
Hmm.
Pi Dimension, that's an interesting name. That's like, third dimension, fourth dimension, and then there's Pi Dimension.
Yeah, I wonder if he's talking about like pie that you eat or the sequence of numbers.
But it's PI, it's not PIE, so it's the number. But pies are round, and
That's
so,
true.
that all works out.
Very true, very true. Alright, so this turn I just like Death Spiting the Twilight Drake. Get your Death Spite into play, get it onto one charge so you can activate the Death Rattle whenever you feel like it. Probably just kill off the Drake next turn with it. Yep. Even though it does take a little bit of life here to kill this thing off, that's totally acceptable as a warrior, especially when you have shield blocks, you have your hero power, you have lots of ways to gain that life back. Plus, you want to be damaged anyway for the battle rage in your hand. So, I think this is a good play.
The Ancient Watcher being hovered on by Nicketh now. With these players taking so long to make their turns, I guess they'll give us an opportunity to make a couple comments. So, it's sort of that. I don't think people have really decided whether Patron or Handlock is favored in this matchup, and probably will never find out since Patron Warrior is being taken out next week with that change to War Song. But it's sort of the sense of either you can get your taunts up, you can get your threats, and with, the addition of the new Demon Handlock, there's just more threats on the board, there's more potential of early plays you can make, like the Void Caller.
Yep,
So,
early shenanigans. Void
yeah,
Caller into Mal'Ganis. That's some fun times to be had right there.
it's pretty interesting because in this matchup, it's the Handlock is essentially the one that has to pressure for damage. Alternatively, if he can get a big enough taunt wall up, it's okay too, right? Because Patron only has 2 executes, potentially a shield block into a shield slam. And looks like Lita decides this is not the time for Patron Warriors just yet. With 2 minions on the board, or 1 minion now, it's, he doesn't really have anything else, like an Inner Rage. If he had an Inner Rage, that probably would have been okay. And it's also kind of an easy Shadow Flame for his opponent. He can Shadow Flame, get a Doomguard out, or Shadow Flame, get out a Jirax's Mal'Ganis. Either way, it's just, not a good time for that situation.
Right. That was actually pretty interesting there from Nick because he still doesn't actually have a demon in hand. So this Void Caller is at risk here of just dying with no value. I mean, it probably won't die this turn because there isn't really a great way to clear it. But if Pi Dimension had opted to kill it last turn, it wouldn't have been that great for Nick. Looks like he might actually.
Well, he wants to hit it just so he can get the Battle Rage.
Yep, that's true.
So he starts with a shield block, unfortunately. A second War Song, definitely not what you need. And now the Battle Rage comes out.
I think he probably shield blocked first there, looking for an execute so he could deal with the 8/8 giant.
Right.
Since he
If
didn't
got
see
the
it off the
execute,
shield block,
yeah.
then
That's true.
he just trades and draws an extra card. So that was well sequenced by Pi Dimension. Unfortunately, he didn't get the execute.
Yeah, Lita with a pretty Pie Dimension rather, with a pretty awkward hand here. You don't need two patrons, you don't need two war songs. The Acolyte and Cruel Task will at least let him draw something, but he really needs an execute for that
Hmm.
Mountain Giant, and he would like to see a Thorson. He'd also like to see some activators. Right now, it's too many minions in hand.
Yeah, he's got all the combo pieces besides the combo enablers themselves. I mean,
All the combo pieces except the combo pieces.
yeah.
Essentially, it actually made sense. Like it sounds really weird, but it kind of makes sense there.
It's like trying to make chocolate chip cookies without the chocolate chips, you know? I mean, you've got all this dough, but you just can't have it. Like it's not gonna work if you don't get the chocolate chips.
What? I did not follow that argument
You
whatsoever.
you can't have chocolate chip cookies without chocolate chips. You can't make them. It's not possible. That's what I'm
This is
trying to say
true.
about not
Oh,
having
you
the
could make
whirlwind.
oatmeal raisin cookies and be a total jerk instead.
I
That's
mean,
the
I
worst.
guess. I
That's the
guess you could.
worst.
But the point is, there are no whirlwinds here for Pi Dimension. There's nothing
There
to.
is one inner rage and one cruel taskmaster.
But that's not
And
enough chocolate chips to go around. You
if
need
he
some more chocolate chips.
uses the cruel task on the acolyte, then he has to face tank the the mountain giant essentially to execute if that shows up. So
Yeah.
pretty rough times.
Mm. Well, I know for sure this matchup is not good if you do not see an execute when your opponent has an 8-8 in play.
Too little,
That
too late.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Unfortunate there. Pi Dimension took a bit too long with thinking out his turn. Didn't even get the armor up in the at the end.
Yeah, I'd probably armor up or play the armors. No, you can't play the armor smith yet. You just armor up there. You don't need to hit the giant with your face since you have two minions out. Now, unfortunately, the Mortal Coil is going to end that dream.
Yeah. It's a very good Mortal Coil. And a strong Emperor Theresen. Uh, it's going to be really
Actually,
difficult.
yeah, there will be an overdraw happening here as well for Pi Dimension.
That's,
So
wow.
if he gets like an inner rage or something, that's gone. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate there. I guess
And
just
actually,
had to.
that's lethal.
That's true.
That's never mind that whole Mortal Coil and all that. We won't get to see what that card would have been.
I believe he actually drew into the Dark Bomb off of the Mortal Coil, so that's why it took a
Oh,
second
okay,
there.
I
I
see.
think I think everyone was pretty tunnel vision there, with
Yeah.
like looking at the next few turns and like, wow, this Theresen's so great. Nope, I'll just win the game. Like, I've had enough. So well played there by both players. We did see some interesting things and unfortunate roping, but you know that's Hearthstone. It happens. So
And another patron warrior bites the dust.
wow. Wow, Patron Warrior. It really is the downfall of this Titan, you know, this deck that's been dominating, people have been complaining about for so long. Is it really that bad? That's the question. Everyone's playing it and stuff. Well, who cares now? It's gonna be gone in, in a few days, but
Yeah, and I've
wow.
heard people say it's actually not that bad in tournament. It's more so on ladder. Um, which I guess the thing that I don't mind so much with Patreon is that you have to get good at it. So other than, you know, when people are first, even when people are first climbing out right at the beginning of the season, let's say you have a player who was legend and then got bumped back down to rank 14 at the beginning of the season, doesn't play for half the season, and you have someone else who just started playing and got to rank 14. Those players are not going to be matched up. Blizzard doesn't just do matchmaking by, oh, you're rank 14, here, play another rank 14. You know, so with that, you know, once you get good at Patron, you're basically only going to play other good players, and generally, yes, it is annoying to play Patron, but it's not the worst situation, I think. I think it's much worse with Secret Paladin because it's a deck that new players can play pretty effectively, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's very hard for new players to play against. Secrets, it's already one of those things that it's like, oh my god, what are they doing, right? And for Hunter and Mage, it's somewhat easier to, sort of figure it out and play around. Like, against Mage, it's like, okay, either his guy duplicates, effigies, or be careful for the first guy you play for Mirror Entity, or be careful your first spell might be a dud, right? Or as Hunter, I think it's sort of cleared back down where it's just freezing and explosive again. So once again, you just sort of figure out, okay, this is what happens. With Secret Paladin, especially when they get a bunch of secrets up, it's a lot harder for a new player to process. It's like, okay, so Noble Sacrifice procs, okay, but he also has Redemption, so that gets procced, and the Avenge will proc on one of the guys that he has, and then, and some things are kind of unintuitive, right? Like for a Mage, what you do is you fireball the Mysterious Challenger, knowing that it'll come back out, because then you can ping it, but if you do things in other sequence, the Mysterious Challenger, if it's the only one that's left up, it gets avenged, and then it's out of fireball range, right? So your
Right.
first instinct is like, oh my god, he has redemption, I'm not going to fireball that, it's just going to come back, right? But that's the way to do it without proccing things, or you're like, should I attack, should I not attack? If I attack, avenge procs, and it actually leaves your opponent with more damage on the board when you do something, right? And it's better not to do something. So there's a lot of weird, awkward situations, which makes it pretty awkward and frustrating for a new player to play around.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things you gotta learn as a new player to Hearthstone. Um, like also just like what classes have what cards and stuff like that, what combos. So we're trying to get the next game readied up here. Should be good momentarily.
And as we mentioned, Libereth making it onto the top 10 players to watch for list by Collegiate Star League. As we mentioned, player that likes to go phase. Now, Police Cap, that's a fun name of a player, Police Cap. It's like the cap is preventing him from going phase because the caps go on your head. It's just go with it. Just go with it.
Well, I mean, I imagine a policeman, it's just the cap he wears. That's it. Like a lot of them wear caps, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just
It's
me.
it's the face police. It's like no smorks around here.
Sure, sure. We'll see. We'll see if Police
You're
Cat
not
brings.
impressed. You're so
I
not
I
impressed.
don't know. We'll see if he brings any smorks to the table. Is all I'm saying. We might see a hunter out of him, right? Or did they already play hunter? I can't remember. Was that?
So for the side of Princeton, they've played Shaman, Hunter, and Warrior. So that is true. The Hunter's taken out. Potentially, we could see a more aggressive Secret Paladin. Otherwise, what other face decks do we have at the moment? I think that's pretty much. Oh, there's Cancer Druid. That's a good one. I would
Yeah.
like to see a Libereth play that. On the side of MIT, we have Druid, Paladin, and Warlock being played already, so MIT has the chance, if they want to opt and play their own patron and see how that works out for them.
Hmm. Yep. It seems like someone was having some difficulties with Hearthstone. Should be good to go in just a second. Once these guys get into the game.
And at the moment, MIT leading the score 2-1. Hopefully, I guess here, this is a difficult decision. I generally don't like cheering for people who go face. But at the same time, that will tie the series up 2-2 and get us to a game 5. So,
Hmm.
difficult decisions to be made here.
Yep. We'll see if Elibrith can take down Police Cap. Police Cap, I know, has been a legend player in previous seasons. Elibrith is actually a legend player right now, so I assume Elibrith has also been legend multiple times, and it should be a pretty good game. We'll see what they bring to the table. What decks, that is.
Yep, gotta intimidate your opponent by starting out with the, oh, look at me, middle of the season, we got legend going on,
Fair For sure, you gotta bring it, you know. And like the best thing to do before you get into a tournament, listen, if you guys are gonna play in some Hearthstone tournaments, just go get number one legend real quick and you'll get some free wins. People will just be shaking in their boots, you know? Like they'll be like, how am I supposed to beat this guy? He's number one legend. Or at least the people who haven't been
Or you
at the
can
top of
pull,
legend.
yeah, you can either. So here's the idea, right? If you can't do that, you pull the Zelay instead, where you concede all your games and then get back down to rank 20. And then you go in and you're like, yeah, you know, nothing's happening here. I'm just a rank 20 scrub, you know.
Right, right.
And then and then you start doing some crazy things, right? You play a deck that's non-meta, and they're like, oh, here's some scrub playing a deck, you know, nothing's happening. And then you bring out like an OTK warrior, and your opponent's just like, what just happened?
And then you have a Deathwing in there, you know, just to get them. Because that's what you do, right? In tournaments, you just throw in a Deathwing and you just get them. I mean, that's what I do. But do other people not do that? I don't know.
Actually, I got a Deathwing in my arena run.
That's pretty good. That's always nice.
So it's a warlock though, so it's a little bit strange.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, looks like we're actually in game here. The players are in their mulligans right now. Seems like we're gonna have a warrior versus a priest. No indicators yet of what kind of warrior it is. It could go either way. Could be patron, could be control, could be dragon warrior. Who knows? But I will say this does seem like a dragon priest, seeing as there is a Twilight Whelp and an Azure Drake.
I don't know. I don't think that's sufficiently face.
Well, maybe it's a
Liberec
hybrid
should
of some
just
sort.
be disqualified here for not going phase. And
It
call
could
it a day.
be like a dragon pirate priest, right? You never know. Maybe there's a South Sea captain in there somewhere.
Gotta throw
Just
in a Blingtron to get the weapon. And
yeah, and that's a
what?
mech.
Okay, I'm following.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah, there is a priest card that buffs mechs, right?
upgraded repair bot.
Right. Look at that. I don't remember any of this stuff.
I know everything about this game. Anyways,
Oh,
we got police cap.
this is where
Let's change the subject real quick before we get into that. We got police cap playing his golden warrior, and Oliverith on a normal priest. That's fine. It's fine. Nobody really has golden priest, right? Besides what's his name?
Zetalot.
Zetalot. Exactly. He's the guy who's got golden priest. Police cap side, yeah, definitely just armor up. Battle Rage for no draws is usually a bad idea, so armoring up is good.
Well, he could have opted to skip the armor up just to get that damage in from the cleric, potentially.
Yep, that is also true.
But
He
he
could
has an
have
acolyte, so...
he could have faked the DC, waited for the rope to time out,
Oh my god.
and then just said, you know what, we don't need to restart the game. Let's just play on. And then Elibrith hits him for one. Next turn he battle rages and says greetings.
Yes. The pro plays.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Elibereth here, just stalling it out. I think a coin balance would be decent here.
Yeah, I mean, with the coin Velens, I guess you're just scared of execute enabler into execute. On the one hand, Police Cap didn't play a Fiery War Axe, so there's a very good chance he doesn't have one. But on the other hand, he could have like a slam into an execute or something like that. Looks like Elibereth does go for the Velen's Chosen. Just wants to get aggressive and wants this cleric to live on.
At the same time, if your opponent is using their execute on your cleric, you're pretty happy. I don't think there's much complaining to be done there.
I mean, but it would be the cleric and the chosen, so it would have been like a 2-for-1 if they slammed. But yeah, this is good.
Ooh, use the pain here. I think.
I don't know. I like playing this pretty slow. Personally, I would trade
Oh, actually,
the Northshire
yeah.
cleric, play the other one, and heal up, draw 2.
I was like, you don't want to leave anything up that could be executed, but yes, as a priest, that's not really an issue.
And even though you put one Northshire cleric at risk, I mean, if he kills the one, you've still got this massive Northshire cleric, 3/7 with spell damage +1.
Yeah, and just to go back to last turn, he could have decided to play more things on the board, like get the Twilight Whelp down and the Cleric, but you almost always want to play out the Drake, in which case you just kind of want to save the Twilight Whelp to be able to enable anything else that you have.
Mm-hmm. That is true. So we get 2 draws here, plus the draw for next turn. Pretty good start for a Liberate.
Double 2 Velens Clerics?
Unfortunately, that dream is not going to come true because one of them just got killed off by this Death Spite. I like this play from Police Cap.
So double Velens instead.
Yeah, just go all in. Make a 5/11 Northshire Cleric. Who cares about execute? Just do it.
Execute.
No, just kidding. I like this cultist. Not much else to do. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? You don't want to have double Velens chosen on your Northshire Cleric.
What do you mean you don't want to do that? Of course you want to do that.
Looks like Oliver's deciding whether or not to play this Twilight Whelp here.
I think the other option would be to play the Whelp and Velens the Whelp. Now that would take it from a 2/3 to a 4 plus lots of health. Very precise. 4/7 actually, because it has the same starting health.
Yep.
As the Cleric, and in that case, it would not be able to die as easily here.
Either way,
execute.
Looks like Police Cap opts to attack. Get his ooh,
oh, wow,
even goes for the BM. The BM top deck execute instead of that one which he is clearly holding in his hand. He wants to tilt the Liberate. He's like, hey, look at how unlucky you are. Instead of just playing the one out of his hand. I like it. I like it. Police Cap playing not only the physical, tangible game of Hearthstone, but he's playing the mental game. He's getting in a Liberate's head.
Well, clearly he's playing the bad cop as opposed to the good cop.
Indeed, that is true. That is true. Bit of an awkward hand, though. Oliverith just had an easy Drake on turn 5. Don't think there's too much else you would want to do there. Just cycle the Drake, get the spell damage up. I like starting with the Gnomish Inventor here from Police Cap. I wouldn't really want to commit a Warsong Commander. You might want to save a Battle Rage for when you have more damaged minions. Like, let's say a turn after you combo, or you just get a couple more minions into play. Because this is a second Battle Rage. But on the other hand, I mean, it is fine just to draw 2. I can't really fault him for that.
Yeah, unfortunately the Thorson coming a turn late. At the same time, 2 Warsongs, a Gnomish, an Armorsmith, those are not really the things you want to be Thorsoning.
Now, cycling this Gnomish Inventor gives him 1 draw, plus he's got his draw for the next turn. If he finds a patron within that draw, then I think the Therison's definitely going to come down the next turn.
This looks really good for Olivereth here. He's got the Holy Nova.
As well as a Light Bomb.
Yeah, I was going to say just the Light Bomb plus the death for Thorson, so he's pretty good here. I would consider just going ahead and using the Holy Nova.
On this turn?
Yeah. Because your Drake doesn't necessarily stay up, right?
That's true, but he does have the
actually,
other balance chosen. He does have the other balance chosen in hand to enable spell damage later.
Yeah, in that case, then the Holy Nova, painting the Armorsmith, hitting, and then just healing himself will do just fine.
I like this play. Getting the Akanai out. I think this is fine. He's just getting into an aggressive poise. He knows that if the game goes on for too long, the patron can just kill him from 30. Like, the patron warrior player can just assemble a combo of however much damage and kill the priest player. So I like how Liberith is getting in an aggressive stance here and saying, I'm not just gonna sit around and wait for you to kill me, sort of
That's
deal.
fair. Now, without a Thorson turn yet, Oliverith knows he's reasonably safe at the moment as long as he doesn't commit too many minions to the board. It's sort of that I need to kill him, but I also can't play too many things at the same time situation.
Hmm. And it's also how much greed do you have with this Theresen? How long do you save it before it's too long? I think it's fine to hold it this turn, especially with the Fiery War Axe draw. You'll be able to deal with the board for at least the next turn and see where you're at after that. Hmm. Could play the Armor Smith as a distraction of some sort. It is a bit risky because it can get caballed, but seems like Police Cap just wants to have a little bit more of a health buffer from this Armor Smith. Just get it out there. He's got so many cards in hand. It might be greedy to just hold on to everything. So
The Worm Rest's a nice pick up here. It does
mhm.
mean that the axe will not be able to chop up the Cabal so easily.
Yep, and holding on to that Twilight Whelp is paying off. Although on the other hand, it is going to be Police Cap's turn 8, which we know Warsong Commander plus Grim Patron is 8 mana, and if you play a 2/4, that's a free couple of Patron procs. So
That
he's
is
probably
true.
weighing that between his other options. He's got a lot of reactive cards. That's the issue here.
There's Valens, right? If he could Valens it,
Hmm.
he
Just so the
could.
patrons can't get enabled, yeah.
Okay, he's just gonna go. He's going all out here.
Hmm. This is interesting. He wants the immediate damage off the
Say,
Velens.
okay, he will kill the Armor Smith though. If he's gonna do that trade, I'm wondering if it's better just to buff up the Worm Rest agent instead.
Yeah, I was thinking he could have healed the Armor Smith and then used his Soul Priest to kill it either way. That might have been a bit of a misplay from Elibrith there because he could have buffed the Wormrest agent and killed off the Armor Smith anyway with his Soul Priest and Hero Power.
Mhm.
And this is really rough because Police Cap does have the other Execute in hand. If he so desires, yes, I think this is
He does
a
desire.
strong play. Yeah.
He so desires indeed.
Yep, I think that's
Alright.
a very strong turn. No Grim Patron in hand yet, but honestly, you're gonna have so much mana over these next couple of turns. Let's just get this Theresen rolling.
Ooh. I really would have liked the Valens on that Worm Rest. Now, giving it more health is... Oh, is he going to... Yes.
Where's the greetings? Where's the VM emote?
Oh my god, these players.
Elibrith not returning the favor on the sorry, but
Although, to be
returning.
fair, since his opponent did not have... Sorry, since his opponent... He has a light bomb, right? So really, Police Cap can get one turn of damage in with his combo before it gets cleared off.
Right.
So,
And if he finds a patron soon, this game's gonna be over really fast. Elibrith doesn't really have a
oh yes. Where
I was
are
about
your
to say
executes now?
Elibrith doesn't really have a play, but Elibrith does in fact have a play in a 4/12 dragon that's gonna give him a really powerful card at the end of every turn. That is definitely a play. Police Cap is on the clock
Actually,
now and he knows it.
oh man. Unfortunately, the Wormrest's gonna get killed this turn, but if it didn't, it would die at the beginning of your turn, but that's a huge taunt he has to get through. Even though you're sacrificing your Wormrest at that point.
Hmm.
So if the Ysera gave him the card before the turn ended, which would be crazy overpowered, knowing how overpowered Ysera is already.
So you're just talking about making that guy a 7/8
Yeah,
taunt for a turn? Yeah.
exactly. It dies at the beginning of next turn, but that is no way for, you'd need two Frothings to get through that.
Yeah. That would be quite a task, quite a feat to accomplish. Still gonna hold on. Hmm. Still gonna hold on to these war songs. Just keeping up his game of patience here, Police Cap. Looking for his patron. He knows he's probably got one more turn, but Ysera's patience, Elibra's patience is growing thin. This game is going to be ended very soon by one of these players. Let's see, this turn, there's
Holy
actually...
Nova would work out fine this turn.
Mhm.
He has the light bomb to take care of the patrons, and at this point, let's see, 4 damage to face leaves him at 10, which leaves him at 12 next turn. Guess putting down Shrinkmeister maybe?
Yeah, I mean, Elibra is 3 damage off lethal here. Uh, so you want to set it up, but you don't want to
Oh,
die.
wow. Yeah,
I like the death
that's
here.
one less card draw. And
What
he
other
was...
what other target is there to death, you know? I mean, Elibrit's just denying the card draw. You don't
This
really
is
need the
fine.
Shadow of Death. Mhm.
But
I
in
like
this
the play.
case, I don't know. He could have not Holy Nova'd, right? And just hit it with... No, but he wants the damage,
Well,
yeah. He wants the damage, so...
yeah, I
This is
think
fine.
Elibrith is just trying to make sure that he doesn't die. He just wants to survive one more turn.
Okay, with 2
Uh,
Nightmares, there's no way he takes care of that Ysera unless he uses Frothing to kill it. In which
right.
case...
He loses anyway. I don't think Police Cap can effectively deal with this Ysera and still have a chance to win. I think he's got to find a way around this. You know, there's no way for him to know what Ysera has gotten, but we know with these nightmares, Police Cap is dead if he does not leave up a taunt.
Well, I think with that many Whirlwinds and Inner Rages and all that, he has enough damage to take out Ysera with his Frothing.
Hmm. Now he could, but it's just after that, after he uses all that stuff, how's he gonna win after all those
I
cards are
don't
gone?
think it's... It depends on how many cards he has to use. Like if, you know, a Ghoul plus 1 War Song plus Frothing plus an Inner Rage or something, that I'm okay with committing. I'm not okay with committing, you know, both Whirlwinds or an additional War Song.
Hmm.
Right.
Now, yeah, I think Police Cap was thinking it's very unlikely I die here because the only 2 Ysera cards in combination, besides Awakens and Nightmare, which would kill him no matter what, was Nightmare. But either way, it was looking really good for Elibrith there, and just a bit of a slow draw from Police Cap. That Ysera, after he'd already used both executes, was definitely not what he wanted to see. And Elibrith just had enough time to take control of the game, take the reins, and finish him off. So, well played.
Yeah, so once again, it looks like we will be going to a Game 5 for our first series of the day. X Silvered X versus W Lee 1104. And once again, the Patron Warrior falls. So, tied up now 2-2 between Princeton and MIT. Looking at the classes that these two schools have played, Shaman, Hunter, Warrior, and Priest for Princeton. So for the last game, I probably expect something along the lines of a Mage, a Warlock, or a Druid. And on the side... Oh, and Paladin also. Basically... What is the last one that nobody plays? That...
Rogue?
Yes.
Yeah.
I basically listed off four of the 5 classes that are left. You know, it's because they played Shaman and they played Priest, so they leave their lineup a lot more flexible in the sense of your opponent, you know, doesn't have a good sense. Like, these are all perfectly valid decks that could be played. It leaves your opponent guessing. On the other hand, for MIT, they've played Druid, Paladin, Warlock, and Warrior. So out of the very common decks, right, there is Mage, and Hunter, right, that are available. Let me see here. That's 6. Shaman, Priest, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So they have a bit of a shorter lineup in a sense, in terms of, just the top tier decks that people generally play in the meta.
Hmm.
Although, if Priest is considered top tier enough as a serious consideration, which I would say it is, then, Mage, Priest, and Hunter gives you enough of a variety that you don't really have to worry about your opponent counterpicking you.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, like with this blind pick format, uh, there's definitely a lot of options you can use here. One of the players for the next game had to restart their Hearthstone client, so hopefully we can get this going very soon. Shouldn't be too long. Just a moment.
So now that we are down to 2-2, any team that you're particularly cheering for, Nomo?
Uh, I mean, I'm not sure. Who is the team with the shaman? That was Deltice, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Princeton,
that was
Hearthstone.
Princeton.
All right, I'm cheering for them because one of them played shaman, and I think that's awesome.
Not only did they play Shaman, they managed to get the Shaman into the Druid for the win, so it doesn't get much better than that. It's one thing for them to play a Shaman, get a terrible matchup, and just, lose terribly. It's another to bring out the Shaman, get the exact right pick, and it wasn't just luck in a sense, right? Because seeing that his opponent's name was Beast Wrath of, and seeing that Druid is a pretty popular deck at the moment, that's pretty good intel to go by to decide, alright, this will be the game I play Shaman.
Hmm.
So just a couple more moments here, guys, before we get into game. For those of you just joining us, or joining us within the last hour or so, this is the Collegiate Star League, essentially a league set up for colleges and universities around the country. I guess North America? There are teams from Canada as well. Yay, Canada. I'm Canadian, so, gotta throw one of those in there.
Yeah,
So
I
teams
gotcha.
from, colleges and universities from North America competing against each other for a ton of scholarship money, and actually for these two teams, Princeton and Massachusetts, both schools that are pretty expensive to attend. So hey, if you're that smart to get into one of these universities, hopefully you're going to use some of those smarts to play some Hearthstone, win some scholarship money, and get out of school with a little bit less debt.
Yep, definitely. I mean, yeah. So anyway, it looks like these players are in game here. We have Merv, who is X Silver TX, and Hyanmu, who is W Lee 1104.
Right.
Their in-game names are just a little bit different than their lineup names, but we got it figured out and ready to go.
Alright, getting into game here, it will be a Mage versus Hunter. So, indeed, we have some of the more popular decks being played. No surprise, surprise Rogue in the last match. It's down to, the last game. You want your best deck coming out here. You don't want a troll deck.
Hmm. Definitely. I mean, I like Freeze Mage right now. I was playing it the other day on ladder. I think it's really good. Obviously, the main issue with it is Warrior, but playing it into a Hunter deck like this, I like. Depending on your build for the Freeze Mage deck, this matchup can be decently good for you or really, really favorable. So, just because you have so much stall, you have some life gain later on, and you have ice blocks, which just make it so the Hunter just can't end the game, period. And give you time to burst your opponent or heal, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and I really like the From the perspective of, Freeze Mage is a hard deck to just pull out because, like you said, against a warrior, that's pretty much, just not going to happen. There's a couple other classes that it's pretty awkward against as well, but, you know, speaking of narrowing the field down, right? You know your opponent's playing Mage, Hunter, or Priest. That works out pretty well for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in general, Freeze Mage dominates aggro decks. And against a lot of priest decks, most people don't play Holy Fire anymore. They don't have a whole lot of healing, so priest is actually a fairly good matchup for freeze mage because they don't really apply pressure in like any way to the freeze mage. The freeze mage just has a lot of time to build up their hand with a ton of burst damage and then just dish it out turn after turn in the late game to win.
There
So.
is a bit of a problem with Priest nowadays after TGT since they just have a strong early game if they get all the draws that they need. But if they stumble just a little bit, right, then you still have enough pieces to sort of, once you get to the Flame Strike turn, take out most of what they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
What
Well,
to do?
yeah, this is an interesting turn. You don't really want to play this Acolyte to draw one because as the Freeze Mage player, you want to chain your draw mechanics together. So if you only draw one card off this Acolyte and you run out of cards that draw cards, then you're going to be a bit stuck for a few turns. So I like saving the Acolyte here, waiting it out a little bit, and maybe playing it on turn 5 for some extra draws. I think you've got plenty of time as the Freeze Mage player. At this point, it being turn 4, you're at 34 health. You've got some time to figure things out. So.
Absolutely, and a Frostbolt here will take out a Knife Juggler, plus a ping onto the King's Alec. Perfect turn, essentially, for the Freeze Mage here. So, things looking pretty good here for Silvert at above 30 health, and still has a lot of pieces in his hand that he can work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this actually turns out pretty nice because drawing that Blood Mage, you don't necessarily need to use it for spell damage. You can just play it for cycle / board control, and especially seeing this Lotheb. Wow. That is a pretty early Lotheb. I mean, as the aggressive, or the aggressor in the matchup, as the Hunter is right now, you want to apply pressure. So playing an early Lotheb is fine, especially since you don't really want to play a Starving Buzzard 3-2 for 5 at this point in the game.
At any point in the game, really, but...
Hey, I mean, actually, this turn, it's way better. You can play your Starving Buzzard, your Web Spinner, and draw a card. Wow.
The value. Hashtag Starving Buzzard value.
Yep,
Oh, we forgot the hashtag slight misplays, or... What was the word we were using?
I actually can't remember.
But, there was the Defender of Argus play in that Shaman game. We get to toss in our hashtags.
Yeah, hashtags for days. Hashtag.
Alright, so looks like he's gonna go ahead and just leave the Acolyte up, which means that Freezing Trap. You can ping it, Freezing Trap it back. That's pretty good value. I would say he should pop the Acolyte into the Lotheb, just in case. It is explosive, and then the Flame Strike will take care of the Lotheb next turn.
Yeah, it's a difficult call here, I would say, for Silver.
Interesting. Decides he wants to proc the secret either way. If he goes face.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really be sure of what secret that is yet.
But if
Most
you don't know,
hunters-
right? If it is an explosive, I'd rather put it into the Lotheb so the Flame Strike can take care of it. And wow! Okay.
Ends up going with nothing. I mean, of all the plays there, I think attacking somewhere would have been better than doing nothing, but I mean, this way, if you leave up the Acolyte as the Hunter player, then Silver can just ping it next turn for another free draw. So maybe he's considering that as a little extra health buffer that that the Hunter has to get through.
Well, I mean, given that he hasn't done any damage yet, I would say it doesn't really matter, right? There's no reason for the freeze mage to really ping him in the face. And leaving up the, well, having the freezing, yeah. So here,
I would go for the trade with the Acolyte before Flame Striking, just in case of a freezing or a snake trap.
no, because you want to
Trade.
clear off the knife, right? If it snakes, your acolyte's gonna die, and it
But
won't
if
be able to
it's
trade.
but if the I was just saying if the scientist pulled a freezing trap from the deck, then you can't make this trade with Acolyte. I mean, we know freezing trap's already in play, but if there wasn't one in play and the scientist happened to get one, then this could have been rough. But the scientist got nothing, so that's pretty interesting. Seems like word's gonna be out that the only secret in this deck, unless he has other secrets in his hand, it's freezing trap. So Silver should be able to figure that out, but maybe he won't be sure because you could
Okay.
have other stuff in your hand.
I was gonna say, he doesn't overdraw either way. He has 9 cards now. It's just unsettling to see that many cards in hand, you know?
Well, as a freeze mage player, I think you kind of get used to it. I know I've played a lot of freeze mage. I actually got golden mage off of doing it a while ago,
Wow.
but yeah,
That
all those
sounds
freeze mage games.
that sounds really tedious. Like on ladder. Playing it in tournament I think is fine, but
Oh, I played it everywhere in tournaments on ladder. I just really enjoy freeze mage. I like it because it's it's like one of the most rewarding decks I think for when you play really well. It's a lot of thought that you have to put into it, a lot of calculations, like with a lot of decks. But freeze mage I think is just really rewarding to play, at least for me.
so here I think the ping on the Lothab needs to happen for sure. And then do you feel comfortable enough to Thorson as opposed to
Looks like it's gonna be Doomsayer Ice Lance. I think this is fine.
yeah, this is fine for sure.
Even if it gets kill commanded or something, it's still absorbing a good chunk of damage. Like the worst case scenario is it gets silenced, or I guess Hunter's Marked. Hunter's Mark could be worse because Hunter's Mark is 0 mana. You just use 3 damage, and then you can play some big monsters to go along with it. But unfortunately for Silver, the kill command is drawn, so that'll be able to take care of the Doomsayer along with playing a high main this turn. And wow, this Starving Buzzard has been doing work. It's drawn 3 cards so far? Or is it 2? Maybe
It's
it's
drawn
just 2.
enough cards. We'll go with that.
More than it should, right? Oh wait,
Definitely.
was this a second Starving Buzzard? Did the other one die to Flame Strike?
Oh,
I actually can't
you know
remember.
what? I think you're right. I think you're right. This might be a second starving buzzard.
Yeah, I actually, for whatever reason, I can't remember, but yeah, both of them were created off of web spinners.
Which reminds me, I need to set up my deck tracker so we don't run into forgetting things like this.
But wow, Starving Buzzards, they're back, man. Those of you guys who played during the days of 2 mana Unleash, 2 mana Starving Buzzard, it's back. Alright, just kidding, it's not. That combo still costs like 5 mana more than it used to. But anyways, just a Blizzard here from Silver. I think it's what he has to do. Like, you have no other way to freeze, you have no other way to clear. Just Blizzard. Your Blood Mage will die at some point. See what you draw next turn. Stall it out. That's what you gotta do as a freeze player. Just stall the game out.
Ooh, nice Houndmaster there.
Yep, the freezing trap to thwart any easy trades that Silver might have been thinking about with this Blood Mage. Wow, the second
Oh my
Blizzard off the
God.
top. That is a real
That's a
good
sorry
draw.
moment right there.
Man,
What is he thinking about? Let's just go. I mean, he can play the
Well,
loot hoarder and
it's still worth considering other things here. I mean, I think with any turn in Hearthstone, it's always worth just taking a second and making sure this is what you want to do. So I like the patience here. Yep, throwing down the blizzard. And I think he's probably going to run in the Blood Mage, unless he's really concerned about Snake Trap. Who knows, right?
he knows
Snake
it's a.
Trap?
Oh yeah, that's true. It played from his hand, so he doesn't know what it is. But
Mhm. Yep. If he was
generally,
paying,
you don't expect to see anything else.
yeah. Yep, he will just go ahead and attack. I think that's reasonable. And then Loot Hoarder ping looks solid. Ping a hyena.
Well, yeah, I guess you have to ping a hyena.
Hmm. I think so, just to make sure.
Okay.
Because I don't think.
There's no pinging face doesn't really make sense.
I think the one damage probably won't matter because if you're winning the game, I don't think the one damage is going to be the difference between that. I think if you're losing the game, 2 damage off of a hyena can definitely be the difference. So that's the way I'm looking at this.
Well, the thing is, right? Oh, actually, you know what? Pinging a hyena would have been good because you assume your opponent's not going to trade. He's just going to go face.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if he wasn't doing that, then I would agree.
So yeah, now,
Ooh.
I mean, it kind of puts you in a similar position. Hopefully you just draw board clear.
Well,
And TKillbot's
I
fine.
don't know if there's that many board clears left, but I think Antonidas Ice Lance here, it sort of gives you a path to lethal.
Yeah, I like the Antonidas Ice Lance as well. I think with Alex Straza in this matchup, you have to be very, very patient. Um, you have the ice block up. I mean, he's actually just going for lethal with Pyroblast next turn. Wow, he knows both freezing traps are out of the way. He's just hoping for no Hunter's Mark, I guess, right?
Actually, yeah, this now that I've
It's a smart play by
seen-
Silver.
Yeah, this is much better.
Just make him have it. Like,
There's a what is the card that was just drawn by the hunter?
quick shot.
It says 0 mana here in a very strange.
Yeah, on my
And when I
screen it's a
hover-
quick shot.
Well, it shows quick shot, but it's purple, so it's like a warlock card,
Spectator client.
and it costs 0 mana.
Spectator client
So yeah,
needs to go home.
very true. I'm not sure I really understand the. I think he has to quick shot his piloted shredder here, right? Although I don't understand why the hyenas went in. Did he
Well,
miscalculate?
It's either play boom and quick shot a boom bot, hope for a 4, or play shredder, hope for a taunt. Hoping for a taunt off the shredder, I believe, is higher odds, but I could be wrong.
I don't. Oh my
Oh,
god!
there's a taunt.
Oh my
Did it.
god!
We did it, Reddit.
Well,
I mean, either way, it's a very slim chance you get back into the game. You gotta try. You
yeah,
gotta
Antonidas
try.
or I guess going for the heal bot plus Frost Nova is okay.
He's
There's-
alive for one more turn.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Archmage
The taunt.
Freeze. I like Archmage Freeze. You have Ice Block up anyways. Archmage Freeze is pretty much a guaranteed win. I mean,
It's your
okay,
last game. Just take it slow.
let's say your opponent has Flare or Kezan Mystic,
That's
and a
true.
Silence.
You never want that to happen.
Yeah, if your opponent had
That's just
Flare,
obvious.
or yeah, I mean, this is I guess is a no risk way of winning the game.
Yeah.
I think it's no risk.
Oh, if
I
he
mean-
loses here.
You're gonna be in a similar situation next turn, like Archmage. Well, actually, I don't know.
Well, you can't, because
thinking
you-
about it, I think
Okay,
I still
the
prefer.
fireball.
I still
fireball's
preferred the
okay.
Archmage Frost Nova last turn, but
This is okay. He just Pyroblasts, and he has the fireball the turn after. He can't die this turn, so he's fine now.
yeah, this works out. Since he drew,
He gets
some
two
damage-
turns. Yeah, he gets 2 turns to draw the fireball. He also. Yeah,
I
he
mean,
has
also
2
the
turns to
heal
draw the
bot.
fireball. He also.
The heal bot puts him to 1. Yeah, just a ping.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
Mhm.
Hunter doesn't run heal,
Like I
so
was just saying, like if he didn't draw a fireball, let's say that was another random card, he would have had the heal bot in play to put him to one anyway. It's a hero power to kill.
oh, that's true. You're right. He also has three chances, right? Because he can play Blood Mage, ping it, and still have enough mana to play the Fireball or a Frostbolt.
Yeah. Plus, he could just draw the second ice block for, another free turn.
Yeah.
Uh, quote.
Essentially, things look pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean things were looking pretty okay since the blizzard earlier, the second spell damage blizzard.
What
So
is what are we waiting for here?
we're just going through the motions, I
Okay,
think.
well yeah, he hits in with the other three, just in case for some reason it's a different secret.
Yeah.
Um,
Just in case his opponent BM pings a boombot. It's lethal, you never know.
hey, he could misclick on his way to
How
clicking
far
his
with the
opponent's
BM do you get?
face.
Fireball the boombot, and then it hits you for two.
You
Accident.
cannot do that. That's not happening.
Oh no, like
You
yeah,
can't.
anyways. Silver taking it home for his team here. It's going to be a 3-2 win for Princeton Hearthstone. Well played by both teams. Yeah, we had some fun games in that series. We've got another series coming up. It's going to be EMU Hearthstone versus Michigan Premier Hearthstone.
Yep, another interstate rivalry happening for a second series. So, as far as patterns go, does that mean it will be a 3-0 victory? I'm hoping for more games, though, tonight.
I mean, who knows? Like, if Patron keeps going the way it is, like, whoever brings Patron is probably going to lose. And then, or I mean, not just tonight, but in the season so far, including Wednesday, Patron just has not been doing well. So,
Alright, we're gonna go on a short break, and when we are back, it will be University of Michigan with their Michigan Premier Hearthstone team versus Eastern Michigan University's EMU Hearthstone. I do have to bring a point up. These teams need better team names. Same with it was Princeton Hearthstone and MIT Hearthstone. Like, come on, guys, you gotta step it up.
I mean, with these guys having such creative names, like BattleNet names, in-game names, who has time to think of creative team names? We've got some epic names.
Alright, so going into break when we're back. Don't go anywhere. It will be Michigan versus Michigan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Collegiate Star League's Fall Hearthstone season, brought to you by Blizzard and Twitch. Now, tonight we've got one match left, and I'm Nomo Dogan, and I'm joined by Lucia.
Alright, thank you for the introduction, Nomo. There was a moment there where a moment of fear struck my heart as you were like, welcome to the... Where am I? What are we doing?
I blanked out for a second, to be quite honest.
Alright, I was like, okay, he's back. It's all good, you know.
Yep.
Like, maybe you have occasional amnesia and fail to tell any of us about it in your interview and all that, and then, of course, I have to find out in the middle of a cast. You know, it's like, okay, don't hang up on the guy. What if he panics and does something? But
That'd be
we got
pretty
a
rough.
cast. What do we do, guys? Oh my god, panic basket everywhere.
Fake Nick. Yeah, that would be pretty brutal. But anyways, looks like our players are getting into the game. We have Eastern Michigan University and University of Michigan playing against each other.
Indeed. I forgot to do the location check here. Let me just do a quick look here. University of Michigan is located, as Google would say, in Ann Arbor. Oh, they're in the middle of Michigan. That kind of ruins the... Oh wait, no, hold on. I did not zoom out to the state level. What am I doing? That is Michigan. Okay. They are on the east side as well, aren't they? Alrighty, looks like a Darkhawk. I'll figure this out in between games.
Sounds good to
Don't worry
me.
about it.
Yep. We have Abita representing EMU Hearthstone, and we have Darkhawk 2000 representing Michigan Premier Hearthstone. So we've got Abita on the Druid and Darkhawk on the Paladin.
Alrighty, so it looks like we've got a Paladin versus Druid to start, both very standard decks in the current meta. 2 muster for battles, not really what you want to see. Probably want to pick up a 2-drop here. And with the mulligan, a Tyrion and 2 Quartermasters is definitely not what Darkhawk was looking for.
Yep, that's for sure. A bit of a slow hand, but then again, not the fastest hand on the Druid side either. I mean, you do have the Darnassus Aspirant, right? That's pretty strong for Abita. Darnassus Aspirant into Shade of Naxxramas, into Druid of the Claw, and the curve continues as he draws an Emperor Theresen. Not super well lined up on turn 3 here. He will have a mana floating, but other than that, looks like it flows pretty smoothly. Except that this Darnassus Aspirant is actually probably going to die. So, rest in peace, 1 mana crystal.
Ooh.
Opts to trade it in. I like that trade because if your
Come
opponent
on.
does have a muster for battle...
No. You
I
trade it
mean-
in first, so you don't waste a mana crystal when you play your shades.
Okay. I thought you were going to comment on how you go for it and just who cares if the nice hit. But yeah, I guess that's true. He did technically, excuse me, he did technically leave up 1 mana crystal, but that's fine. Innervate
That's fine?
into...
That is not fine! How can you say that?
I mean, I think it is, but
Oh my
innervate
god.
into Emperor Theresen.
Quartermasters. The Quartermasters.
Really strong. Yeah, Quartermasters for days, apparently.
He could just True Silver instead here, not go too crazy. But looks like not going too crazy is not on the table potentially for Darkhawk.
Mm-hmm.
Looking... He's at least thinking about it. Alright, Quartermaster into Quartermaster. Unfortunately, does have to trade 2 of them in. If he played the True Silver, then he only has to trade 1 in. Saves the coin for potentially a turn 7 Tyrion or a turn 6 Dr. Boom, or a turn 6 Recruit plus Quartermaster. So I don't know. I think given that he obviously isn't in danger of dying, I would have liked just using the True Silver to kill off
the Drake. Or, sorry.
Thorson.
Yeah, the Theracin. Yeah, I think
No,
that would have
come
been fine.
on.
Wow.
This is not quartermaster value.
I
This
mean,
makes me
it's...
very sad.
Hey, it is a druid, okay? Getting ahead on board like this is pretty good, even though your guy's only at 1 health. I think this is fine. He's planning out his next turn to be piloted, shredded, shielded, minibot. His turn 7 can be true silver something else, and then his turn 8 is Tyrion. So I think he's just trying to play it out on curve here, instead of play it super slow, which I think is okay.
I don't think it's super slow though. He still clears his opponent's board in the other case, and he'll have recruits for days.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but then again, they could have just been cleared. But I don't know. It's true. They might have survived.
I don't think there was enough of a board for him to swipe, right? You know, are you really gonna swipe your opponent's face to kill 3? Actually 2 at that point. You're not really gonna swipe your opponent's face to kill off 2 recruits. So if he unstealthed the Shade, the True Silver takes it out next turn. I think it would all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, but I can definitely see an argument for the plays that Darkhawk has made.
For
But
sure. Like he's pretty well set up at this point, I think. Although both players do have some pretty good plays in hand coming up.
Shielded Minibot I actually think is a nice draw here. It fills out the rest of this turn 7 less awkwardly than just a hero power would. Which leads into turn 8 Tyrion nicely.
So turn 8 Cenarius here, and then he's got combo the turn after. If he, let's see, if he Cenarius leaves up the 2 guys, he can... I don't think it's enough damage though. 14... 19.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be. Yeah, so I think here... Oh, he doesn't unstealth his Shade. I guess it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, I like leaving the Shade in stealth because then it can't be dealt with. You have combo next turn, which I'm sure he's hoping to achieve lethal with, but unfortunately, Tyrion's gonna say no to that, and whoa. That is 2 Savage Roars.
No Innervate in hand. Unfortunately, none of those were drawn when he still had Tyrion on the board, so he's gonna have to wait for an Innervate for that to happen.
And he's already played 1 this game for that Theracin earlier, so it's unlikely he'll draw another, but we'll see. We will see. For the time being, though, how does he deal with this board? I mean, he's not too comfortable at 19, just combo clearing, or maybe he's comboing some damage on face. We'll see how he distributes this.
Yeah, trades a tree in. Okay, he kills off his Shade.
Wow, and then puts 15 damage on the face?
So this way he's left with a 5/8 and a Savage Roar, plus his face.
Excuse me, that was actually 17 damage to the face. So that was a lot. And I guess he's not too worried about dying himself.
So the problem here is, you know, do you lay on... I think lay on hands is probably just a safer play.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and then trade everything into the Cenarius. And then hope your opponent doesn't have a second combo lying in wait, because that would be really sad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Succubus, the 3rd best card to get, I think.
Mana Storm.
I forget, was there...
Succubus.
Maybe it is the 2nd.
What else is there?
Well, there's the 4/3 Warlock card that deals damage to your face
Yeah, so
when it
you
takes
don't want
damage.
that. So that's
Yeah, that's like
less.
That's like 3rd. But yeah, Succubus is really good. It does get cleared by Keeper Hero Power, but Darkhawk has to feel okay about this. I mean,
Yeah,
he's got
and with
so
the
many
tempo
answers.
BGH coming out, he knows it's not another combo he had in hand, which I guess he also knew when he had 14 health and his opponent didn't play combo onto his face.
Hmm. Well, I mean, whatever Darkhawk does here, as long as he clears the board, I think he'll be happy
I think
because,
Consecrate is okay
yeah. I mean, using
without the
equality,
equality.
I think it's all right. You have two Elder Peacekeepers in hand if he does play another big threat. You got lethal next turn with your Ashbringer plus Potted Shredder. I mean, might as well not take any risks, take any extra damage at all, and just hope that Abita didn't have the second combo, which Abita does not. So
What can he hope to get here to be able to? I mean, he has. Yeah, there's really nothing he can do at this point.
definitely didn't want an innervate. I'll just say that.
Hey,
But
if he just waited it out, he would have. I mean, obviously he had to kill the Tyrion, but just saying.
mm,
Ah, yes, gotta throw out the innervate.
mhm.
Alright, Consecrate for kill? True Silver for kill? Both?
Man, Nerubian Weblord, that would just be such a satisfying thing to kill someone with. Like, look at that guy.
That is
What
true. Yeah, that would have been the way to go. You got killed by a spider. Congratulations.
Yeah. It's only a 1/4. That thing's probably just like the size of a real life spider. I don't know. But anyways,
I don't know.
interesting.
I mean, look at it this way, right? Tyrion is a 6/6. A 1/4 has more than half the health of Tyrion. That is a pretty freaking large spider there.
All right, you got me. Maybe it's like a big black widow or something.
This
But
is
anyway.
getting awfully frightful here.
Anyways, we're talking about Hearthstone here. Yeah, that was an interesting game. I mean, it wasn't Secret Paladin, so that definitely spiced things up a little. I mean, we did see a Paladin earlier that wasn't Secret Paladin either, so nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, people are realizing, mid-range Paladin was always a pretty decent deck, and with TGT, people just wanted to experiment with the Mysterious Challenger. There have been mid-range Mysterious Challenger decks, there have been, aggro decks. Both aggro and mid-range Paladin decks were viable pre-TGT, so just sort of figuring out what cards to take out and put in to sort of come up with that deck, but as we can see, just the good old control mid-range Paladin works just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially in that matchup, it's a pretty classic matchup. Mid-range Druid versus mid-range Paladin. Usually it goes in Paladin's favor, seeing as they have the Peacekeepers, the heals for later on when they need to get out of combo range, and the weapons to deal with the mid-range threats. I mean, Paladin just matches up nicely against mid-range Druid. Um, so yeah, worked out for him. Happy to see that. And it would have been pretty unfortunate for Darkhawk if Abita did, in fact, draw the Force of Nature for lethal there to have double comboed to win that game. That's always a sad feeling when that happens on ladder. I know, at least for me,
I
happens a
think it's
lot.
probably a sadder situation in a tournament when,
Even more so for
yeah,
sure.
not just your school, but, I mean, not just yourself, but your school. Everything on the line to die to a card draw. Like one out of 15 at least.
Yeah, definitely a rough feeling. Our next match is going to be Red Baptism versus Life. Looks like the players are in game, ready to go. Let's see.
Yeah, just a little bit of issue getting into this game here. Apparently the game I'm attempting to spectate may be full.
Yeah, this is interesting.
It is full. There are too many people spectating this game. It's like you're standing, you have a table set up, and everyone is standing around it. And then it's like, nope, there are too many people standing around. There is absolutely no space for you to crowd around the table at this point.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know that I've seen this happen before. I'm gonna try restarting my client real quick. We might have to ask the players to close their spectating and then add us. We'll get this figured out in just a sec.
Not looking hopeful at the moment. Let's do it this way then. I'm going to spectate from the other side. The player names will be reversed, but at least we will have something happening here.
Yep, that works for me too.
Nope. Apparently I cannot spectate Red Baptism. So we've got a... oh no. We've got a Freeze Mage against a Warrior. And just what I said last game about it being a good idea to wait it out, you know, if you're a Freeze Mage player, wait it out, play one of the later games, you know, get that Warrior out of the way so that you don't have to deal with a Warrior. Well, unfortunately, it looks like our dear player Life not going to take that piece of advice. Just gonna go ahead and YOLO out the Freeze Mage, and this is probably going to be a pretty difficult game for him.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you queue up and you're Freeze Mage into Warrior, you just kind of get this sinking feeling, and you're really like, man, do I really want to play this game? But from the looks of it,
well, your team is counting on you, so you're not allowed to just quit.
from the looks of it, Life is actually playing an Effigy Mage, so I don't think it's actually a true Freeze Mage deck. I think it probably has maybe something like Molten Giants and stuff like that.
Sneeds, potentially?
Yeah, we'll see what it has to offer. I mean, I doubt it's just a standard Freeze Mage deck that plays Effigy, but who knows, it could just be a twist on it.
The coin, I would not coin Thorson here. You just kind of lose your Thorson to the Death Spite. He does have a good amount of cards in his hand, which will get reduced, but letting your Thorson just die to having the Warrior hit it in the face does feel a little bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like Red Baptism's having some issues with the spectator mode for whatever reason. So I guess we're just going to be looking at this game from Life's point of view.
And the Thorson does come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thorson, it doesn't line up very well with the Death Spite, you know, from Life's point of view, because it does just die, but he is getting a solid amount of discounts on his cards in hand. I mean, that's what, 7 mana off over the course of playing all of these cards, so pretty good tempo in the long run.
Nothing he could have played instead, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might as well fill in the gap. I mean, he could have thrown down an Effigy and then played Thorson the next turn and hoped to get a good 6-drop. But, yeah. Looks like it is Patron. We'll see if Patron keeps up its losing record so far in CSL's Hearthstone season.
That would be very sad. This is like one matchup where you expect it to do well. And, I mean, it's not Control Warrior. Control Warrior would pretty much be hopeless for Freeze Mage at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, a little bit of hope here for the...
For the Freeze Mage?
For the Freeze Mage, yes. But without a Flame Strike, this is not looking as good.
Right. Yeah, the issue is going to be how many armor smiths, how many shield blocks, how many ways to gain armor does Red Baptism have? You know, as a Freeze Mage player, I'm usually not too concerned with minions on board unless they're annoyingly sticky, like, you know, Haunted Creepers or like Harvest Golems or anything with like a Death Rattle that comes back to life. Those can get annoying, but in general, not too concerned with them. It's just how much life can my opponent get up to? And a lot of patrons can get up to 50 or more HP off of their armor with whirlwinds, armor smiths, shield blocks, and just armor up the hero power in and of itself. So
I was
we'll see.
thinking, yeah, last turn of just playing that effigy and using hero power to kill off the 5/1. Obviously, the 5/1 can't attack this turn, but
Yeah.
he could attack next turn, and it allows him to set up the effigy as well. I don't know that he really needed that second secret out so badly.
Hmm. That's true.
Unless he's saving it for next turn, where he can Antonidas and effigy, so it's hard to say where we're going with this at the moment.
Right. Now this is definitely an awkward board for life. I mean, you try to deal with a couple of the patrons, and then two more appear. So no flame strike to be seen in Life's hand. What is he gonna do here? I mean, if you blizzard, it doesn't really solve the problem.
If he frostbolts the unstable ghoul, it'll give him a full board of patrons, and then
But then if you blizzard,
you blizzard after, he's left with, I think, two,
2/3/3s.
2/3/1 patrons, right? Is it full?
Well,
It's not
it's
full.
gotta.
Okay. So he'll be left with a 3/3 and 2/3/1. Oh, 3/3/1s. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit
And
awkward.
they are frozen, and only one of them can replicate.
Mhm.
So.
But it only takes one, especially with
Oh my
especially with 8 cards in hand. I'm sure Red Baptism has some way to multiply this. Maybe he doesn't.
That flame strike really needs to be happening right now.
Hmm. Still no Flame Strike. A bit unfortunate as the Freeze Mage player, but then again, this is a really tough matchup. That would be step one in coming back here and trying to pull ahead as a Freeze Mage player versus a Patron Warrior. Who knows? Maybe this will change
The debut for
change the record of the Patron Warrior so far.
I mean, this will be either the last or second last Patron Warrior we see. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, I guess Patron's okay, and then Patron's out again.
Hmm. I mean,
Assume he has an execute here, since he opted not to hit the Alexstrasza with any of the patrons that are going to die.
yeah. I mean, that's true. I'm just thinking, like, with this Alexstrasza, I guess he just went for it and he's hoping to draw enough bursts to win. I'm kind of just grasping for straws here as the Freeze Mage player at this point. Like, oh man. Yeah, it looks like Red Baptism's gonna go ahead and pop this block. I'd say this is a bit of an... Well, is this an error? Let's see what the life total gets down to. Alright, it looks like he will put him to exactly 1.
Wow. That's extremely well done by Red Baptism.
He did his math. I mean, besides the Armor Smith coming out last, maybe there's some place he could have fitted in there just to bolster up a bit more armor, but besides that, that was well done. He did his mathematics properly.
Well, the war song had to come down first. And then I think there was too many. Yeah, the war song and the patron had to come out, right?
But he didn't attack with the Dread Corsair. So he could have traded a patron into Alexstrasza and then played Armor Smith and then played Dread Corsair.
Alright.
I think maybe don't quote me on that, but I don't know. Anyways, he did it really well. He got the Freeze Mage down to the exact spot where he needed him. And he should be able to close it out here with just a
I don't
weapon.
know.
Or...
We can't see his cards.
Time will tell.
All
I
right, and
mean,
no mush. So I'm gonna assume the first three cards in his hand are not weapons.
probably
And
not.
then that is
Probably not.
also not a weapon. And he did not get a weapon from the last card either. But he's got a ton of armor right now. I'm not too worried.
Well, I mean, you can't take any damage, so you got to explosive sheep. And then the warrior's going to gain 4 more armor. And then you have to ice lance the gnomish and the acolyte. It's ugly. I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to think of a way for life to come back here, but who knows? Maybe he's got something
He can
spicy in
play
his deck.
Healbot and not have to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he can play healbot, and then okay, yeah, yeah, true, true. I forgot about the healbot. You don't have to use both ice lances. You just hope for the best. But
Yeah,
still,
I think at
warrior's
this
just got
point, you
so much
just
health.
hope for the best is basically the way to go at this point. Opting not to play the effigy, he wants the effigy to go on the Archmage, and also next turn he can play all of them. But even with that, that is 4 fireballs in hand, which is 24 damage, which is not enough damage to kill the warrior.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he's not dead yet, so he might as well,
There
like go
is,
through
yeah,
the
there
motions.
is the effigy, so if Antonidas stays up, or even if Antonidas dies, it gives him something on the board.
Mhm. Who knows? Maybe baptism won't have an answer to it. I mean, yep, he's going for it. And then whatever he gets off of effigy, maybe he might get a second Antonidas.
That always works. Does he want to just frostbolt?
I actually like Ice Lance on the face here. I don't think the Archmage is going to survive. You kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the 2 fireballs, you get some damage out of your Ice Lances, and you get the Frostbolt to save for another turn when you Fireball, Fireball, Frostbolt. And then, with these 2 fireballs you get off the Ice Lances, you'll get the Fireball, Fireball hero power. So, I like the double Ice Lance on the face. I'm not sure what he did, though.
Oh, his opponent also doesn't know that's an effigy. You'd expect it to be, That's not a good card to come out. That's the Druid. Yeah, that is the Druid card.
What card is it?
Knight of the Wild? You know it's a bad card. First of all, it's a 6/6 for 7 mana. But also it's a card that is supposed to get reduced over time, so its starting cost, like a Molten, right? You're just never gonna get a value out of a Molten that way.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely not the 7-drop you want to see here. Maybe better than something like Ancient of War, though, which would have only been a 5/5. Or Ancient of Lore, which would have only been a 5/5.
That's
But
true.
still, lots of better possibilities than a 6/6.
Even a Dr. Boom, right? Without the boom bots, it's like, oh wow, you're a 7/7? You mean you're already better than what, half of these 7-drops?
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I guess you just sheep, you hero power. Yeah, I mean, using these ice lances to freeze makes sense. I mean, like I said, I would have preferred using them, to get fireballs, but this works fine as well. I mean, using them to deal the damage this way, and then fireball to the face.
He needs to deal damage somehow.
Yeah, he's gonna need another big source of damage, and also just not to die. I mean, he is at 6 HP. I'm thinking with Red Baptism's hand, he probably just needs a War Song Commander. With whatever he's got over there. He's probably just looking for the second War Song.
He's got 10 cards left. Unfortunately, Deck Tracker kind of decided to
Well,
not
there's
work out.
the War Song.
Okay,
There's a patron.
option.
All right, there we go. Yep.
And one more thing.
And a whirlwind, just to make sure.
Let's be extra sure he's dead this time.
Yeah.
Trade the patron into the Wild Walker.
Wow, I believe this is actually the last patron we will ever see this season. The last game of patron.
Well, we could see a patron if
Was Warrior?
Jezel decides to play patron.
I guess I'm just confusing it with the last match. We saw 2 warriors the last match as well.
So, Paladin and Warrior taking University of Michigan up 2-0 against EMU. So, EMU, you know, are they going to throw out the patron just to toss in a patron game here? Or will they pick something else here for their do or die moment? I mean, at this point, you probably just have all these players play their most comfortable deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's different, you know, like first game, you're allowed to play a shop, and if you don't win, that's okay, you know. You've got the rest of your team to carry you. But at this point, every game counts for EMU, so, you know, maybe University of Michigan can come out with some interesting decks here. So that,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, it's nice. You allow the rest of your team a chance to play, or you show the audience a pretty cool deck or a game, so I think the University of Michigan here should take the audience into consideration and show us something more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I want to see another shaman personally.
Well, unfortunately, the Druid has already been played by EMU, so strategically speaking, I don't see a point of playing a shaman at this point. At this point and all that.
But hey, there's always the point of playing it for fun, am I right?
I would prefer to see a rogue, right? You're never gonna see a rogue, so
Alright.
I think
Rogue's cool.
tossing out the rogue would be pretty good.
Sure, rogue.
3-0 your opponent with rogue as the last deck that gets played. I think that's gotta get style points.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we haven't seen a rogue yet, we'd get a lot of style points. Looks like they're getting about ready to go. Hopefully we'll be able to see both perspectives this game. Unfortunately, we did have an issue with that.
Looks like it will be Orion Mango versus Jezel 1-2-4.
Yep. And I think we're getting started.
Alright, pouring a pre-game beverage, it looks like.
We've got Orion, Mango, and Hunter, and Jezzy 124 on Priest. Nice.
Alright, Orion Mango, I would say disappointing. Hunter is a very solid deck. If you want to win, playing Hunter is good for sure. I would not blame him there, but Jezel actually with a... Oh, it's just Jez... No, it is... Okay. I've been wondering...
I think it's Jezzy.
I think it's just, yeah, Jezzy, and
Yeah.
maybe somebody mistyped it in the lineup page to add the extra L in there.
Maybe. But yeah.
I think so. Okay. Alright.
But yeah, you are a little bit disappointed as the Hunter player, I think. You know, running into a Priest, especially Dragon Priest. They've got a lot of early plays to keep up with what you're doing, and beefy taunts early on in the game. 2 mana 2/4 taunt is very efficient. A 4 mana 3/6 taunt is also very efficient for their respective mana costs. So
Yeah, and looks like Orion, very interesting, opting to keep his Eagle Horde Bow and Piloted Shredder. I guess just deciding that, you know, anything else he plays is just gonna die? I'm not really sure why you would bother keeping those.
I think the mulligans were a bit off there. I think they might have actually mulliganed differently than what...
It was the same cards in his hand, though, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But either way, starting things off with the web spinner and quick shotting Twilight Whelp on turn two rather than playing the knife juggler. I think that's acceptable. You don't want to trade your knife juggler into that Twilight Whelp. Um,
Yeah, and you never know, right? With the coin, he could have done a coin balance, and you don't even lose the Twilight Whelp, and you kill off the knife. So, quick shot, just a reliable way to take care of that problem.
hmm, for sure. The Eagle Horn Bow is clear play here. Yep. Lost Tall Strider is the beast. He got off that. Doesn't exactly fit on curve, but you know, it's not as bad as something like a Hungry Crab.
It's like, when you think life is bad, remember, you did not draw a hungry crab.
Exactly. You gotta focus on the positives.
Alright, and the Shredder coming down again, you know, pretty standard play coming out. And Jesse here doesn't really have a play. He does not have any dragons in hand, and playing out the Twilight Guardian as a 2/6 without taunt just doesn't feel very good, especially against that piloted Shredder.
Hmm.
So instead of playing something, going for the heal, of course.
The
Orion
BM
might go.
thanks from
Right,
Orion.
but, you know, just gonna go ahead and say thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, well, who am I kidding? That's not BM. He's actually thanking Jizzy for healing his Shredder. I mean, his Shredder's been out here fighting for like a whole turn now. You know, like it could use some medicine. But yeah, it's really unfortunate Jezzy didn't have another dragon in hand to enable his Twilight Guardian. Um, that's just a really sad place to be as a priest player. Thinking back, maybe he should have saved the Twilight Whelp so that he would have it for his Twilight Guardian and his Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah, I
But
mean, we saw the game previously by Ellie Bereth, and I mean, you can't exactly fault Jezzy here. You do want to get that early tempo against a hunter, right? So, you know, maintaining some form of board control and all that. So like I said, I wouldn't fault him for doing it, but, you know, maybe that's where here are the players you need to watch out for, you know. They're going to be the ones that know when they need to save, hold on to a card, that sort of thing.
right, I mean, especially depending on how many dragons you have in your deck, you would think like, oh, you know, I have however high of a chance, probably a really substantial chance to draw one by turn four, but unfortunately you didn't. So, yeah, I mean, as a hunter player,
No
it's
Hunter's
such a
Mark coming out.
sacrifice.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the first time we've seen that, I think, so far. I mean, it's definitely poised to make a comeback with the Ancient of Wars and the like running around in Druid decks. Also, with Patron being gone, Hunter's Mark is not very effective against a board of 3/3s. So, Hunter's Mark could definitely make a
It'll deal with
resurgence.
one of the patrons. So
Yeah.
then you have to kill one of them, right? You kill the 1/3/3 with your Eagle Horn bow, and then play an explosive trap. I think that's about it.
Yeah, and then they get more patrons. Fun times.
No, because you kill the 1/3/3 with your bow, you Hunter's Mark the other 3/3, and then you're left with a 3/2 and a 3/1. So they
Yeah, in
can't
a
hit
lot
your
of
face,
cases.
and it all works out.
In a lot of cases, yeah, that's true. That's true. You got me. But yeah, I mean, I like the Hunter's Mark, especially in like a tournament format. Ooh, the greetings coming out from Orion. He's ready to get this game rolling. Jezzy, considering carefully what he should do here,
This
I
is
like the
pretty
patience.
straightforward. I think you just put down the Twilight Guardian and you pain away the Knife Juggler.
I mean, it's also worth considering playing the 2/4 taunt, but then again, Lost Tall Strider could just trade straight into it. I think opting for that Shadow Word Pain is definitely the right play. So
Yeah.
I also agree.
And you always have the issue with the Haunted Creeper and the Knife Juggles coming out of that.
Right.
So,
Definitely. I think this is a strong Hunter's Mark. What other taunt are you worried about that's going to have 6 or more health? Uh, Tiger and Hero Power looks good to me. Keep the pressure up.
Orion
Gonna.
being very patient here, and I definitely like that play. And he's actually even more patient. He's gonna go ahead, toss away his Argent Protector. It would die to a Holy Nova,
And
or
Light Bomb.
yeah, a Light Bomb anyway. So opting to keep his Haunted Creeper, even though it only had 1 health. So just making sure his board is as sturdy as possible here.
Yep. Haunted Creeper also being a beast that survives Light Bomb could be a key factor in getting lethal soon. Even though Orion doesn't have a kill command in his hand yet, if he draws one next turn, say Jesse did at have a Light Bomb, kill command would have been enabled. So, but wow, boy was I wrong. What taunt is gonna be bigger than 6 health? How about a 10 health taunt? Man.
Just to prove you wrong, right?
Yeah, the second Twilight Guardian plus a Velen's Chosen. This is a pretty sturdy wall here for Jezzy.
Yeah, this really hurts too, because that means he has to trade both his 5 attack guys in, and they're just gonna die.
Yeah, pretty brutal. And Bear Trap, unfortunately, not very good when when your opponent's not going to be attacking your face. So we'll see if Orion can pull this out. He needs a couple more points of damage. Maybe Jezzy will be able to get out of range before Orion can finish him off. A taunt is a good way to achieve that. I mean, you do have the Hunter hero power ticking away, but you also got your Priest hero power to keep healing yourself. Kill command could be lethal here. Nope. But then again, a Savannah Highmane is very solid. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, the Unleash allows him to kill off the Worm Rust, but then he's basically popped both his Haunted Creepers, and his board is very weak. I think the Savannah Highmane plus hero power would be a better play here.
Yep, the issue as well, he also skips a hero power, which is the guaranteed 2 damage. So yeah, I also agree. Highmane plus hero power. Even with this Unleash though, I think this is acceptable.
About this Unleash. Is he? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you...
No, I was just worried about the space on his
Oh, I
board,
see.
but
I see.
that was okay. I guess his concern was that his opponent would be able to take out his Highmane with the 3/5 and the 2/4, and then Holy Nova, and he has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just watching Orion's play, he's been very meticulous, really well thought out plays happening, like saving that Hunter's Mark for a juicier target, and killing off that Worm Rust to kind of try to keep his Savannah alive, or at least make sure a Holy Nova doesn't just take out everything, right? This way, at least his 2 hyenas stay alive. In the other case, he would just have 4 spiders instead.
Yeah, and this is really great for Orion. Not really what you want to see here. 2 traps that are not going to be enabled for a little while, at least.
That's not too bad, right? His opponent has to do something to him. And when something happens, then one of the 2 traps at least will proc, and
Mm-hmm. But maybe if Jezzy is keen, he can play around these traps. Maybe he'll get an idea.
Jesse's probably going to play incorrectly around them, in the sense that, he's going to play the Boom Bot because that plays around freezing. And when you see 2 traps on your opponent, you assume one of them is freezing, right?
Usually, yeah.
Ooh, does he have lethal here?
Looks like it. Wow. Huffer or Leok actually, I think, wait. No, Jezzy was at 7?
Get hero power as well, so...
Yeah, Huffer or Leok, so 66% chance. Yeah, I mean, it could have also been Kill Command, it could have also been Igor and Bow. There are a lot of potential outs for lethal there, so I wouldn't exactly say it's a lucky top deck, it's just like the odds were in his favor to get that. So
For sure, and just the way that Orion played the game, I think he definitely, it definitely showed that he knew what he was doing and deserved that win. As a mid-range hunter, you are trying to go face, but at the same time, you kind of have to watch out. You know when to use your removals, such as that Hunter's Mark, knowing, you know, when you have to trade in the right ways. And Orion definitely played around that very well and securing the win there. So looks like we have a repeat of what happened on Wednesday. It will be a 3-2 series with a 3-0 to finish off the night.
yeah, yeah. Well, very interesting. Did Patron win tonight? By the way, I can't remember. Did that?
Yes, there was one game. Red Baptism being, he will likely be crowned the only player in all of CSL Hearthstone history to win with Patron Warrior.
Indeed, he'll be a legend from here on out.
He will be the legend. I'm sure people will figure out some way to Patron even without the war song, but if they
Yeah.
don't, Red Baptism, he's got a real title going on for himself there.
Yep, Patron went out with a bang. I mean, who knows? Maybe in a future expansion it'll find its way back into the metagame. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. Goodbye, Patron Warrior. So very interesting matches tonight.
Alright, and that is all the games we have for you tonight, folks. Remember, Collegiate Star League is happening every week, so be sure to catch us again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific or 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you're somebody living in the zones in between, I'm sure you can figure it out, having lived on this continent for so long.
Hmm. Also, tomorrow, Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific, CSGO will be happening on Channel 1 from C Star League. So if you guys want to check that out, you can look in the description about us. You can click the Channel 1 link. If you guys like CSGO, that'll be on tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
CSGO is the other game that was just started up this season as well, so go show your fellow first season Hearthstoners some support. I mean, first season Collegiate Star Leaguers some support.
yeah, definitely. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Blizzard and Twitch. And yeah, from me, I am Root Nomodogan on Twitter. If you guys want to find me on there. Lucia, do you have any shout outs, anything?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter as well as Lucia Fireball. And that is all we have for you tonight, folks. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a good night and a good weekend.
Bye, guys.